Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a Flashback Friday style video. I haven't done one of these on my channel in a while, but I've been meaning to. So basically what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be talking about some of my past favorites and just chatting over if they're still my favorites, if I still have them in my collection, things like that. So I'm going to be focusing on April and May of 2017. So I looked at my makeup monthly for those months. I wrote down everything that was in my favorite section, and I'm going to chat about if I'm still loving them, if I would still consider them a favorite. So if you're ready for a new Flashback Friday video, why don't we go ahead and get started. So I had a lot of favorites in the month of April. I was actually thinking about doing maybe like April, May, June, or March, April, May, or something like that. But when I saw the list for April, I was like, okay, maybe I'm only gonna do 2 months, so this isn't the longest video ever. I think it's because my birthday is in March, so you know, I get birthday gifts. It's easier to splurge on yourself when it's your birthday. You typically get like little extra rewards or bonuses from like Sephora or Ulta, and then also typically the VIB sale and Ulta 21 Days of Beauty is somewhere around my birthday, which is in March. So I think that kind of explained why April was such a large list. But I thought it was interesting because I had quite a few brushes that I kicked off April with. So I mentioned the Moda metallic brushes, and yes, I still love these. These 3 particular brushes from the Moda metallic line, I use almost every single day. This one, the Super Crease, if you watch any of my like tutorial or get ready with me style videos, you almost always see this. It's just one of those staple brushes for me. It's just use it to apply a light shadow over my eyelid primer. I mean, it's such a simple task, but it's one that I do every single day, and this is like my main brush for it. I also really love the contour brush, which looks like this. If you can see, it's dirty because I love it. So this is a contour brush that I use almost every single day. I like how it's like just nice and small, can get right in there to contour. And then the other one that I use all the time. What is this one called? Oh, I think this is called the buffer brush, but the writing is kind of worn off. It's the buffer brush though, and honestly, I like to use this for bronzer. It doesn't necessarily look like one of my like traditional bronzer brushes, but it's like, it's dense, but not like, it's not like the contour brush, and it's just a little bit bigger, and I feel like it just gives a really nice bronze all over the skin. So yeah, these 3 brushes I still really enjoy. Another brush that I mentioned in there was this one here from e.l.f., and this is the 104 contour brush. And yeah, this is another brush that I use quite a bit. It's really, really densely packed in there. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll stamp the contour on and then just kind of lightly buff it up. And then I'll take my bronzer brush and really kind of help bronze, and then also kind of like blend out the contour because this is like really, really firm. But yeah, another brush that I use very consistently. Another brush that I had in there was from Morphe, and this is the R2. I love this brush. I highly, highly recommend this brush. It's from their rose gold line, which I think is still available on the Morphe website, but I love this bronzer brush. I got it off a Jaclyn Hill recommendation, and also a lot of people said this was like a dupe for the Marc Jacobs bronzer brush, which is, you know, probably ridiculously expensive. But I really enjoy it. It's Big Daddy, and it's just really easy and really quick to really get that all over bronze. So I really enjoy this one. I also had on there the Morphe Sponge. This is the Flawless Sponge, and I actually just used this one, if you can tell. I really enjoy this one as well, and you can find it on the Ulta website, and it's nice and affordable. I actually have 2 of these because I enjoy them so much. I would totally repurchase them. This is definitely still a favorite. I would highly recommend the Morphe Sponge. I actually have some more Morphe in there. These are the Morphe Liquid Lipsticks. So I don't know if I would necessarily say that these are an absolute favorite anymore. I feel like I have found other lipstick formulas that I just love and would continue to reach for, but I did recently do a lipstick declutter, and I only decluttered one from Morphe out of my collection, and it's just like a pretty dark lip on me. But the shade Schoolgirl, which is a really pretty like neutral pink, I still really enjoy. And I don't know if this would be available anymore because it was a collaboration with Orpha, but Vinyl is like a hot fire fall liquid lipstick color. I absolutely loved it. I like the formula. It's a little bit drying, but they're very opaque. You don't need a lot of product to get these on your lips, and I feel like they last for a really long time. They last for a really long time. So I do still like the formula. I would still recommend it. Like if you're buying from the Morphe website and you're like, oh, I only need, you know, $8 more for free shipping or whatever it is, I would recommend the liquid lipsticks because I do like them. I just don't think I would say they're a favorite anymore. I also had in there a couple items from No7. This is the Radiant Glow Concealer. I really do like this concealer as well. Again, I wouldn't say it's a favorite at this time, but I bet as I enter into the warmer months, I can see myself grabbing this one. It is a pretty like light to medium coverage concealer, but it does give you a nice, just a bit of a glow, like a healthy glow on the under eyes, which I do like. It is kind of like that pen applicator, like you kind of have to click it up here, which is not my favorite style of applicator, but I do like this concealer. I've kind of been finding myself that I lean towards the more full coverage, but again, I wore this a lot in the summer last year, so I have a feeling going into summer I'll be reaching for this one again. And I also mentioned the No7 Bronzer, and these are called what are these called? They don't have like the name on them, it just says No7 Bronzer. I want to say it's like something shade bronzer, smart shade. Again, I'll have it all linked down below, but I have the shade Caramel. And yeah, I love these bronzers. I love the packaging. They have a mirror here. I still recommend this. I still use this quite a bit. It's one of those bronzers that, like, I have a vertical drawer for my bronzers, and I have like my 4 or 5 favorites in the front. And this one is right there in the front because I use it a lot and I think it's really beautiful. So yeah, this one is definitely still a favorite too. So next up I had an eyeliner mentioned in my favorites. This is from DHC and it's the liquid eyeliner. This is definitely still a favorite of mine. I recommend this constantly, and it's like a liner that I never hear anybody talk about. I get mine off of Amazon. I've repurchased these multiple times over and I just really enjoy this liner. I'm not the best at winged liner, and I feel like whenever I use this one, I feel like I'm getting a really good wing. It's really black, it's really matte. I like the applicator on it. It's the style that I prefer for my liquid liners. Like I said, I've repurchased this many times. I will say that I'm finding some pretty bomb liquid liners lately. Sigma has a great one out. The Balm I've really been enjoying. I felt like there was another one that I was testing out that I'm really impressed with, but there's some other ones that are finally I'm really enjoying because I felt like I've gone through so many liquid liners and I've just not been able to find a favorite. So when I found this one, I just constantly kept repurchasing it, but I'm glad to see some other ones are on the market that are pretty darn good too. But yeah, I still highly would recommend the DHC. It's still a favorite of mine. I also mentioned in there the Marc Jacob highliners, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I had like a clear obsession with Marc Jacob highliners, and I really do still enjoy these. Honestly, I would say that they're probably still a favorite, really high up there. I recommend them a lot. I use them a lot. I've purchased a lot of different shades. I have 3 here. I probably have 3 more in my drawer. I feel like they're really easy to get onto the waterline. I feel like they last so long. These guys last on me super long. They have a lot of different shades. They actually have different finishes, matte and shimmer. They're expensive. They are pricey. I think I've only ever bought the Marc Jacobs highliners during like a VIB sale or during some sort of discount because they're pricey, but they are still really good. The Urban Decay ones are kind of surpassing them for me. I have Urban Decay, well, I have a lot of Urban Decay on today, but I have an Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On pencil today. So they're kind of like passing over the Marc Jacobs ones for me, but yeah, I still would highly recommend those. I really do enjoy them. I also had a Kat Von D liquid lipstick on there. This is in Ludwig. I have a mini and I also have a full size. I think the full size is still in my clutch. I couldn't decide what lipstick I wanted to wear when we went to a concert the other night, so I took Bow and Arrow and Ludwig. Like I was like, I know I'm going with Kat Von D. I just couldn't decide which shade I wanted. But yeah, this is definitely still a favorite. I highly recommend the Kat Von D Everlasting liquid lipstick formula. Ludwig is a beautiful light pink and I wear it quite a bit, so yeah, that one is definitely still a favorite. I feel like I'm having a lot of still favorites, which is pretty darn exciting. I know like a year, I mean to me a year seems like a really long time. Maybe it's not like too long, but I've only been a beauty channel for, I think June will be my 2-year mark, so I can't really go back, you know, a lot of years because I don't have videos. But still, like a year, a lot can happen in a year. A lot of new makeup can come out. You know, your makeup styles or preferences can change, so it's pretty cool to see how many I still am enjoying. This next one though, this is from Tarte. It's the Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. So this one is actually in my project pan, my 18 and 2018 project pan, so I have like some progress lines on the back here, and I also have the concealer in my project pan as well. And at first, when I started the project pan in January, I was doing a really good job of consistently using the concealer, and then I felt like it was drying out my under eyes, or just kind of like, I don't know, irritating, just kind of noticing like dry patches, and I was like, I don't know, is it the concealer, is it my powder, like what is it? So I switched up concealers and it went away, so I was like, okay, I think it's the Tarte concealer. And then when I did a check-in, I wasn't doing very good on my progress for this, and so I kind of started using it again, and I feel like, I don't know what's in this, or the concealer, but when I use them very consistently, something about it my skin does not like. So there might not be the best items to have in my project pan. Like if I just wear it, you know, here and there sporadically, I don't notice anything. So I never did when I had these, you know, in my collection prior to that, but since putting them in the project pan and trying to use them, something about them is just not, my skin isn't vibing with it. And I haven't really, I kind of backed off after that, but even still, this is a bit of a darker shade for me. It's in light medium honey. So maybe during the summertime, I'll try again because I think it'll match me a little bit better and all of that fun stuff. But I don't know. I don't know how much farther I'm going to get through with this guy. I would not consider this a favorite anymore though. I had 2 items from Lorac in that video, and these are both from the Pirates of the Caribbean collaboration that they did. So the first one here is the eyeshadow palette. So I still really do like this eyeshadow palette. I don't think I would consider it a favorite. I don't reach for it a ton, especially on camera because it was limited edition, and you know, it's just, I know it's an annoying thing, but like when I wear certain makeup and people ask me like, what is that? And I want to buy that, I want to get that. And it's like, oh, my entire face is all limited edition and you can't buy any of it. Like that's kind of a bummer. But I still reach for this on days where I want to reach for it. Maybe I'm not on camera and all that. But it has a nice mirror. It has all these fun shades in here. I recently did my eyeshadow palette Declutter and I was like, you know, I know that I don't reach for this on a super consistent basis, but I still really do like this eyeshadow palette. And I like the colors in here. They're like unique enough to me that I feel like it kind of can push me out of my comfort zone. It can get me to create some different looks when I use them. So I still really do like this eyeshadow palette. Would it still be considered a favorite? No. But I do still like it, and I did keep it around in my collection after I did the declutter. Now, the cheek palette, honestly, these are still favorites of mine. The Lorac Beauty and the Beast, like, I still do like the eyeshadow palette, and I kept the eyeshadow palette, I'm fairly confident. But the cheek palettes, the face palettes in both collections, top notch. Like, I still continue to love them. So this is what the face palette looked like for this, and again, it does have a mirror in it. And then you have 6 different shades. I really like the shades in here. The highlights are phenomenal. They're so beautiful, but the blushes are really pretty as well, and especially this middle blush right here in Caribbean. I love these face palettes from Lorac, and I want to say, did Beauty and the Beast come out first? And I fell in love with that face palette. Like, I took the Beauty and the Beast cheek palette on my Arizona vacation with me because I like it so much. It's so pretty. Yeah, these honestly, I know they're not available anymore, but they would still be a favorite. So next up on my list, I had the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself eyeshadow palette. I really did like this guy. I did end up decluttering it when I did my eyeshadow palette declutter because it was an all shimmer palette. So I, you know, trying to think logically, I was like, I know I don't reach into this a ton. I was kind of just using them as like eyeshadow toppers and that sort of thing. So I wasn't getting a ton of use out of it, and I figured someone else would enjoy it more than I was. But I do remember quite liking that. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be able to say it was a favorite anymore, and it has since been decluttered. But another eyeshadow palette that I mentioned in there, this is the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette, and yeah, this is still a favorite of mine. I still talk about this a lot. I still use this a lot. I still recommend this a lot. It was my first Violet Voss palette. It has a big mirror here, and then my tones, like my tones, my shades. I love going into this palette to create just a really beautiful like brown smoky eye. Like, it's one of my favorite go-to looks. It's just a brown smoky eye. I think it's so pretty, but I really like the mattes and the shimmers in here. I like the mattes even more, but I really like this eyeshadow palette. Yeah, I would still consider this one a favorite. I take it traveling with me quite a bit as well, even though it's a bigger palette. It still comes with me a lot. And then the final item I had on there for April was the Smashbox and Casey Holmes collaboration, the Spotlight palette in Pearl. And yes, this is absolutely still a favorite. It's such a phenomenal highlight palette. You can still get this. It's no longer a collaboration with Casey. The collaboration was limited edition, but the actual palette was not limited edition. So actually, like, when you look on my palette, like, nowhere on it does it say this is a collab with Casey Holmes. It was just like the box that said it, which I kept the box because that's who I am. So I'm glad that I did, because I didn't realize that it wouldn't have anything. I mean, it's such a little thing, obviously, but you know, it's something that makes me excited. But this is a phenomenal highlight palette. I still reach for it a ton. I had it in my March Madness series because I just think it's a beautiful highlight palette. I love all 3 shades. I love the mirror. I would still highly recommend the Pearl palette. And then moving over to May of 2017, the first item that I mentioned here was the BH Cosmetics and Carli Bybel collaboration. clearly see two of my favorite YouTubers. This was their deluxe edition, the 21 shade palette. So again, it has a mirror in here, and then you have a mixture of these eyeshadow shades, and then you also have highlight shades in here. I had the original palette that Carli did with BH, and I ended up decluttering that one in my declutter because this one is really similar to it. Like, there was some repeat shades. It's just a larger palette. You have more eyeshadows and more highlights in here. But I still think this palette is so beautiful. I highly recommend it still, and I think this was one, I don't know if I had it in my March Madness, but I remember when I was doing like a throwback Thursday, I was going to use like older makeup in a get ready with me style video, and I put this one in the vote. I think I had a vote on like Twitter at the time. It was a while ago, but I had this one on there, and I was like, I just like this palette so much, and I think it's so pretty. I love the tones in here. I love the highlights are absolutely stunning in here, but yeah, I don't reach for it as much, but I still would highly recommend it, and honestly, like, it still is a favorite of mine. Like, I can't get rid of this one. So next up, it was pretty funny to see the Olay daily facials on there, the 5-in-1 facial cloths. So I did just do a skincare favorites video talking about my like current skincare routine and my current skincare favorites, and these were mentioned in there, so clearly these are still a favorite. These are just so handy. They're just a little dry makeup wipe. You get them wet, take off your makeup. They're a scrub and a cleanser. Like, there's just so many cool benefits to these. I am getting ready to go to Oklahoma City for 4 days, and I decided I am not checking a bag, so I'm really worried about liquids when it comes to like makeup and skincare, making it past security and all that. And I'm like, well, at least I don't have to worry about how I'm going to take my makeup off because these are dry cloths, so that's freaking awesome. I really enjoy these, highly recommend them. And then also in there, I had the YSL The Shock Mascara. I just had to say RIP to my YSL Shock Mascara. It is in my empties bin, which I really didn't want to go through to grab it out. But my next empties video, you will see the YSL The Shock Mascara. I had a mini guy of it. I think it was like a 100 point perk on Sephora. I would totally get a point perk of it again. I know it's a more expensive mascara because it's YSL, but it is really good. I just don't wear mascara a ton because I typically wear lashes, so it's harder for me to pay full price for high-end mascaras. But if I saw a point perk of it, for sure. I especially love getting mini mascaras because they're just easier for me to go through since I don't reach for them as much. It's a phenomenal mascara though. I really enjoy it. I'm kind of sad it's not in my collection anymore, but yeah, that one is really good. I also had on there a perfume, which I'm not a big perfume person, so that was pretty fun to see, but this definitely is still one of my favorite perfumes. This is from Kenzo. It's the flower perfume. You can find these at Sephora, so I'll go ahead and link it down below. But yeah, I really enjoyed this perfume, and even like look how like tiny of a dent I've put in it. But this is one that's like really expensive, and I don't want to run out of it, so it's like one of those that it's like my special occasion perfume. But it smells so nice. I have no idea how to describe perfume, but I like light scents and more like light or fruity scents, and I feel like that's what this one is. But it just smells so good. I still highly recommend this one. Yeah, it's one of my favorite perfumes, and I think the bottle looks pretty cool too. I also had on there an item from e.l.f. This is the St Lucia Face Duo. Yeah, I still really enjoy this guy as well, and I can't remember, I feel like I was just talking about this in one of my videos, but I don't remember which one it was. But it has a mirror on it. It has a really nice bronzer in here, and this is kind of like a blush highlight. For me, it just kind of depends. Like in the summertime, I can use it more as a highlight. Like right now, I could use it as more as a blush. But the bronzer is really nice, and this is like $4 or something. $4 for two really big products and a freaking mirror. How? Like, I don't even know how you go wrong with that. Yeah, this is a really nice product. I still use it. I still highly recommend the e.l.f. Face Duos. They're super affordable. And then the last item that I mentioned was actually some more brushes from Morphe. So these came in the Copper Dreams brush set, which I don't think is available anymore. It kept going in and out of stock, but I think it was limited edition, and I don't think you can get it any longer. But I said that I really liked the eye brushes out of there. The face brushes I thought were pretty scratchy, and I didn't enjoy them on my face, but I liked the eye brushes, and especially these 3 blending brushes. But unfortunately, it was probably after like, you know, I'm gonna say like 5 times or something of washing them, they got really scratchy on me, and to the point where I don't remember which brush I was using one day, but I was using one of these brushes one day to blend on my eyelid, and I had to go switch brushes because it had gotten so scratchy and it was irritating my eye so much. So I don't know what that was about, because when I first got them, they were soft and fluffy and nice on my eyes, and then after washing them a few times, I was like, what happened to this? So that was pretty unfortunate. These would not be a favorite anymore, but after that, that's gonna do it for today's Flashback Friday video. Okay, so that's gonna be everything for today's video, looking back on my old favorites from April and May and letting you know which products still are in my collection. Some have been decluttered, which ones would still be my favorite, and which ones I've changed my mind about. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you wanna see more flashback style videos, please do let me know. But other than that, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.